And how the weather has changed here in Belgium. Just under 70 kilometres left to ride as they approach now the climb of the Côte de Rossier. And this morning the riders starting with gloves on in temperatures barely above 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see they're still wearing the arm warmers now. And of the 193 starters, the field has whittled itself down considerably. Laurent Jalabert, who has just won Flèche Wallonne 4 days ago, is now in the making group yet again. 171 here in the Liege Group 2, and that is Eddie Bowman's. Lance Armstrong has made the split yet again, a race in which he shot to prominence last year with a fine second place, outwitted by Evgeny Berzan, who isn't here by the way. Number 41 is Yannick Bugnot. So this is a powerful group. But I'm sure the man they're going to watch is going to be Laurent Jalabert. And Johan Museeuw setting the pace in his leader's jersey in the World Cup competition after his victory in the Tour of Flanders. And number 21 is Marco Pantani. I wonder what we'll see of that man when it comes to the Tour of Italy and the Tour of France this year. An attack by Michele Bartoli. Bartoli having a good season. 5th in Milan-San Remo. Won the 3 days of the Panna and then finished 7th in the Tour of Flanders, so he's confident. This is the Côte de Rossier. The 12 climbs make up Liege-Bastogne-Liege, the vast majority of them coming after the turn at Bastogne. There was a big breakaway early on today, and an hour covered, the first hour of racing was covered at very, very high speed indeed. But now it's all come back together, at least at the front here. And Armstrong has done well to read the move. Bugnot. Rider 214 is Gianetti, and what a surprise he was by finishing finally in 5th place in the Flèche Wallonne. Bartoli has joined Casagrande on the attack, so 2 teammates out in front. Memories of the Flèche Wallonne a year ago when Gay Wiss put 3 men out in front. Well, we're over the top of the Rossier here now. We've got 5 leaders and 63 kilometres still to go through to the finish. Gianetti passed to the back of the group. Lance Armstrong in the break yet again for a 2nd year running. Good move by Lance. Stage winner in the Paris-Nice this year. And in fact, Lance having a word there with Gianetti, who's a Swiss rider. And there's the full breakdown. Bugnot, Armstrong, Casagrande, Bartoli, Bowmans, Jalabert and Gianetti. Eddie Bowmans, nice to see him in the move. Occasionally an underrated rider. 50 seconds back to the group, which they're calling the Bortolami group, the World Cup holder. And Museeuw tried to get on terms. 30 seconds back, and that was Museeuw taking a drink. He's in 2nd place. Climb number 10 of 12, only taking the riders up to 175 metres. And a good road. This is Eddie Bowman sitting at the back. Won a stage of the Nissan Classic a few years ago in Ireland. And this is the composition now of the 2nd group. You see Pantani is in there, and number 1 Berzin is still in there too, last year's winner, with Museeuw, Rebellin, who's also riding well this year, very well, and the ever consistent Fondries too. This is the 2nd group on the road. What a great season Johan Museeuw is having. Rolf Sorensen, who worked so hard for so long in the 4-man breakaway in Flèche Wallonne, only to fail. Alex Zula. Claudio Chipucci. And Evgeny Berzin. Nice little small Bianchi bicycle he rides. Neat little rider though. Whereas a big Zula towers over him. Celebrated his first yellow jersey in his first Tour de France on his birthday. Well, Jalabert is pushing away here. 32 seconds. They've let the favourite go again. 10 wins under his belt now this year. Jalabert, Gianetti, and the Mercatoni Uno riders have done well here. They've got 2 men up. Bartoli and Casagrande. Fondriest with his legs on today. Not surprised, it's rather chilly in the Ardennes. Fondriest quickly marked by Museu. And the steady reformation of that chase group. Well, if they continue these counterattacks, they're going to get across to the leaders for sure. Andre Schmil trying to go forward. So too, not quite so quickly there, is Claudio Chiappucci. But this little league group is building again. And the one man who's gone missing from the front group is Eddie Bowmans. He's been dropped, in fact. So we have 6 leaders. Jalabert, Bugno, Armstrong among them. And here they are. This is Bortolami here, the World Cup holder. Just doing just enough at the moment in that breakaway, but not making the progress to these riders here. There's Jalabert, Gianni Bugno, Lance Armstrong. And number 82 going through there is the top Mercatoni Uno rider. They've had such a great ride so far, Michele Bartoli. And 20 seconds is all the gap is. Well, the classics this year have really been diverse and really interesting to watch. Face of El Diablo. And taking his fair share of the pace too, the Refin rider, Heinz Imberden. So we have Chiappucci in that chase group, Imberden. Jimenez is up here again. Bowmans has joined in with them, although he's been dropped from the front group. And Rolf Sorensen. There, the chase group of 5. And in this front group, we've got Jalabert, Bugno, Armstrong, Casagrande, Bartoli, and Gianetti. Gianetti, a little bit of a surprise. And a minute 15 is the official gap. Gianetti taking the pace there for Polti. This is Sorensen in the second group. Chiappucci riding a very good Spring Classics season this year. Imberden on the far side. Sorensen, plenty of riders willing to work. This is Jimenez, the Banesto rider, and on to now towards the Côte de la Redoute. And this is the one that starts alongside a main freeway and then curls into the countryside. Very, very steep indeed. A couple of short turns here through the village of Remouchon. And then the climb begins. And you can expect them to use probably 23 tooth sprockets at the back. 25% the gradient. And it starts just under that bridge ahead, which is the freeway, where they'll turn right. And it's a good gap to Chiappucci, 1 minute 10 seconds. Armstrong showing no fear of the climb, which is about to start if it hasn't already. Jalabert sits behind him. Well, Jalabert again looking sharp. There seems to be nothing he can do wrong. Jalabert deciding after this race to take 5 weeks rest. And he's doing that at the height of his form, because he wants to continue with the same form. And I think he's wise not to over-race himself, because he's won 10 races already. Well, I've climbed this on more than one occasion, La Redoute, and I'm afraid I can't get it on less than a 26 sprocket. The crowd always come here. Then I'll head up towards the Côte des Forges and see the finish down at the other end of town, outside Liege these days, at Ans. And it looks to me as though this is not going to be a decisive part of the climb this year, La Redoute. Nobody is pushing the pace. It's a nice piece of steady climbing. Jalabert knows he's a marked man. He's not drawing attention to himself. Bugno is setting the pace and keeping it nice and steady. Life at the back doesn't look quite so steady. This is the second group, and that's Chiappucci. They're all recognising and tapping on the back. And it looks as though Eddie Bowmans has gone from that second group as well now. Bugno regulating the climb. This is the steep section, 19%, almost 1 in 5. Heading up towards the top of the climb, where you can't see a road coming in from the right. There's so many people here, but there is, and the riders will go left on it. And Gianetti sitting there at the back too. Armstrong. And Lance is a little bit bigger than some of the climbers, might feel happy to be over the top of that climb. And indeed, he's now moving up towards the front of the line. This is Chiappucci. He hasn't done a lot towards the climb. Sorensen's just in front of him. And Imbuden, surprisingly, is setting the pace. And setting it well too. They haven't made any progress at all. This group is around a minute. Over the top of the climb, and behind this group is still coming Museu, Andre Schmil, Fondriest and Alex Zula. They'll be the third group on the climb. So, the big climb, the one that everybody talks about in the Liege Bastogne Liege, is now behind them. The main road climb of the Côte des Forges to come. And there's the information. So 55 seconds to Chiappucci and 2 minutes back to Museu. Now I think that's too big a gap now. Museu is not going to come back from that. Chiappucci could. So too Sorensen and Imbuden. They've got themselves into a good working order again now. Still we can see Armstrong willing to work. Maybe this will be the day that Motorola will get the win that they've been looking for all year. Normally a very muddy right-hand turn, that because the roads stay narrow for a little bit longer, and this is in favour of the escapers, but these are the chasers. Imbuden, another rider who surprises me to be up here in the thick of the action. And there's Saiz, who must be very pleased with the performances this year of the Once squad. And in fact, Laurent Jalabert speaks Spanish very, very well indeed. Gianetti taking the line through. And they're stretching it now out to 65 seconds, and they've added half a minute almost onto Museu's group. So while Chiappucci is showing a little defiance, it looks as though Museu's group has struggled a bit up that climb. Schmil not the best of climbers either. There's Casagrande, who's the designated team leader of Mercatoni Uno. And the other rider in this breakaway is his teammate. And there he is, Bartoli. Chance to make a little bit of ground now over the chasers. The roads get more in their favour before they head out to the Côte des Forges. And the day hasn't really warmed up that much either. And although Jalabert's pushed his arm warmers down, it's still a bit chilly. Well, there's nobody missing their turn in this breakaway. They've got a nice tempo going. They're looking set to share the honours here. But Armstrong's been in this situation before and was really confident of the win last year. And Evgeny Berzin jumped away almost in sight of the finish and held on. Lance had to settle for second. Bagno too, largely unrewarded so far by his fine riding this year, but he's still there. He won the Tour of the Mediterranean this year. Kierpucci, and in fact it's Heinz Imberdon who's getting the information. Well, it's just over a minute, Heinz. Kierpucci set for another top 10 finish, but I don't think he's going to make the top 6. 27.5 kilometres to go. And there's still climbs in it as well. This is the Museo group, which is now over 2, nearly knocked him off there, 2.5 minutes down. And there's the quality of the riders in this break. Martin Den Bakker having a great season, in the action again here in this third group. But there's a lot of teammates in this group who won't endanger the leaders. But the team missing out for a change, Mappe. Haven't got a man up in that leading group. And you can't say that's happened very much this year. The world's number 1 team. Up towards the top of the Côte des Forges. And they'll swing over to the left, and nobody has put in any attack at all. It's almost as if they're content now to work together until the climb up to the finish. And I think they're all afraid of Jalabert. Casagrande 81, Mauro Gianetti 214. Gianetti turned pro back in 1986, so this will be his 10th season as a professional. He's only ever won 7 races in his career, but a very consistent professional. They've often made the races for their teammates in the past. Armstrong still got plenty of strength in those legs. Bunyo keeping an eye on him. 2 world champions swapping turns at the front, or former world champions anyway. Over the top of the Forge, as you can see there, it's the Stanockers Memorial is off to the right. I don't know whether our cameras will show you. One of the most popular Belgian riders, indeed a winner of this race in the years gone by as well. The great Stanockers. And I don't think our cameras are going to give you that shot, so you'll have to take my word on it. But we're 22 kilometres from the finish. That's about 13 miles to race. A little bit of disjointedness suddenly happening now. Bunyo taking a few tips on the far right. Well, the news will be reasonably good because the breakaway chase has dropped away. And there's nobody going to get up to these 6 riders now at all. Because since the Côte des Forges, the gaps have opened dramatically. They haven't missed a turn here in this group, and we're talking now 7 and 8 minutes. And Kierpucci's group is round about 4. So they won't be coming back today. And this will open up the area here now for the riders to test each other out. And you see, in fact, the 2 Mercatoni Una riders obviously got the advantage with 2 riders here. Should be starting to think now of possibly attacking with one of their men, probably Casagrande if he's got the strength, because then Bartoli might finish it off in the uphill finish. There's the Polti car gone up to speak to Mauro Gianetti. He's the most unlikely rider in this breakaway, I must say. He won 2 races last year, Gianetti, and they were his first 2 victories since 1990. Had a couple of blank seasons. And Jalabert also picking up the hot news by the look of it. Well, he's not going to be allowed to move anywhere at all on this run into Liege. The riders will go through Liege before they climb up to the finish at Ans. There's Jalabert's performances in past Lieges. His best was 9th. And his worst has been 57th back in 1992. Predominance of yellow jerseys in the peloton this year, so thank heavens for Gianni Bunyo's blue one. Well, Jalabert seems to be doing a little bit more watching now and maybe trying to work out just how he's going to handle this. Armstrong's chosen his wheel to follow. Bunyo is never very far away from Lance Armstrong. It may be nothing, but it may be significant. One of these 3 riders will be my favourite. As Armstrong goes through, followed by Gianetti, then Casagrande, then Bartoli. Now you see the 2 teammates have found themselves in the line here now, watching each other, because that's the way they should ride, close together, so that possibly one can feign an attack and maybe the other one can push it home. There's Bunyo's record here in this race. Not a particularly good one for a man of Bunyo's quality. Still, he should improve on that today. Short turns being done now. Jalabert through and off. So too Gianetti. Now Lance goes through. Lance got the easy bit because it was downhill. And now the 2 Mercatoni riders. Not exactly rushing to the front at this stage. So Bunyo's decided he'll go and have a look for himself. And again takes the wheel of Armstrong. Just 17 kilometres left to go, slightly over 10 miles to the finish. After Emborg, no more climbs of note left apart from the climb to the finish, and there we have it. 2 minutes, in fact, they say in the group Chiappucci is. Well, I think in reality it's more than that. Well, a lot of interesting new names have finally hit the headlines this year, and not least Michele Bartoli. 2 wins under his belt so far. Armstrong won the stage of Paris-Nice. That's Bartoli going through while Casagrande slips through this side. Another new name in Casagrande. The Polti riders also finding a strange representative up here in Mauro Gianetti. I remember in the Tour of Britain back in 1989, a massive long breakaway that seemed to go on forever through the Welsh mountains was Gianetti riding with Robert Miller, and they survived to the end, and they finished top 2 overall. There he is, Gianetti. Hinted he had some good form, I must say, in Flèche Wallonne. Just pipped on the line by Casagrande, who's also made the move today for 4th place. Still 2 more rounds of the World Cup to come after this. Normally there's only one, the Amstel Gold Race, but this year the Grand Prix Frankfurt is also included. And with the absence of the Tour of Spain till the end of the season, it'll be interesting to see just how the calendar pans out for the professional riders, having to plan himself quite a different way of racing this summer. And that's probably why Laurent Jalabert has decided to take 5 weeks off. He's not the only one on the Once team taking the break either. In fact, his loyal domestique Neil Stevens is also going to take time out to try and force a second peak towards the Tour de France, I suspect. Well, this is the traditional drop away from the hills of the Ardennes now as we race down to Liege. It buries itself in a beautiful valley, the city itself, but every road out seems to be uphill. And this time, and has been for the last 3 years, the finish is uphill. over 6 hours now these riders have been going since the chill morning air, and they've got 14 kilometers left to go. No one has tried to attack, no one has tested the riders in this breakaway. They've simply just made their pace. It's paid off in as much all 6 have been carried well away of the rest of the field. There is nobody sensed anybody else out here. I feel sure if there wasn't an uphill finish, somebody would have tried to go already. Bugno might be confident. Armstrong. And of course, Jalabert. These are the back streets of Liege now. It is a much better finish than it used to be. That's for sure. It was a sprinter's finish in the old days, but now somebody has decided to find out who's the strong men, and it looks like Bugno has gone. And Bugno has found cracks in the armour, but they have been rapidly repaired. First man up, not surprisingly, Jalabert, and it's good to see Lance Armstrong paying close attention as well. They're all together again. Alongside the river here in the centre of Liège now. They'll cross the city and then we'll head away towards the finish. Michele Bartoli, looking as though he's getting a bit frisky, just stretching his neck there. Bartoli leading through Casagrande, then Gianetti, then Bugno hooks up. Nobody else left in this race, that's for sure now. Through the underpass to avoid getting involved in all that major junction on the top. And then they'll come back into our sight before they switch over the bridges. So the arrival of La Doyenne of World Cycling, the oldest classic of them all. And we're going to be treated to a sprint between 6, although whether they'll go to the line in a sprint after the little climb, we'll have to wait and see. Still running on the banks of the Mars, and still 12 kilometers from the finish, 7 miles. Well, Bugno's little tentative came early, and he turned off almost as soon as he'd started. It was a tester, see if they were paying attention. 2 Mercatoni riders, always together. Casagrande wants Bugno to come through, and smooth pedalling Jalabert right behind him. Armstrong still looks very good indeed. And in fact, Bartoli having to fill in there for Casagrande, who missed out his turn. Now, Laurent Jalabert accelerates a little bit, but the reason being, he wants to get back onto the wheel of Bartoli. Again, the riders just forcing their way through here. It was almost as if Jalabert said something then to Bugno, who just looked back at him. They're getting a little bit concerned now. They obviously don't realise that the chase group is over 3 minutes back. They've lost their cohesion because they all want the advantage of being at the back when they start the climb up to the finish. And that is Gianetti having a good look along the edge of the River Mars there, just to see if anybody was coming through the trees. Well, they know now that once over the bridge, it's showdown time as they start their way up to the finish in Anse. Armstrong leads Bugno. Jalabert watches Bugno and Armstrong in particular. He seems to feel those are the 2 to mark. And the Two Italians and one Swiss speaker there, Gianetti. I would think that Mauro Gianetti will feel very satisfied with the way he's ridden today. 5th in Flèche and now certain of a top 6 finish in Liège. And the roads a little bit greasy from the sprinkling of rain they've had and just starting to dry out, but even so, they're not very good. Armstrong, his blue Motorola jersey standing out, so too of Gianni Bugno. The others all dressed in yellow today. Armstrong swings off. Doesn't want to do too much work as the climb starts to bite later. The old suburb of Liège. Beautiful old city. The World Championships were down here in Rockcourt in 1975. In fact, America did very well on the track, especially with the women. Well, this is where the climb really starts to hurt now, and that's Bartoli has gone. Well, it had to come from one of the two Mercatoni Uno riders. That's the way to do it. If they catch Bartoli, you've still got Casagandri to play, and in fact, Laurent Jalabert has gone after him, and it looks to me as though Lance Armstrong is in a little bit of trouble here. Armstrong has gone, and I don't see Casagrande either, because that is the Polti rider, Mauro Gianetti with Bugno. So there we have now, Laurent Jalabert has got his chance to get the double here, and what a great double that would be. Jalabert has gone clear with Michele Bartoli, and the climb is not halfway over. And in fact, Jalabert glad to be clear of the foxing and cat and mouse of that bunch. There's the confirmation of the lead group. Bartoli is the rider now being asked to come through. Bugno has rejoined, and in fact, they've sat up. Bugno has come back. That looks like Gianetti. So Armstrong has gone. It is Gianetti. So Armstrong and Casagrande are the principal victims of the attack. And I'm not sure that was the plan by Bartoli to get rid of his teammate, but he has. And Bugno is going to keep the pace up. He doesn't want them to come back. Bugno starts again, followed by Mauro Gianetti, Laurent Jalabert, and Michele Bartoli. Here are the other two now, Casagrande and Armstrong. They've lost an awful lot of ground. I don't think they're going to come back. Although the pace has gone off here, they might. Bugno decided it's better to wait that little bit longer, because once over the top of the climb, in fact, it's a flat run to the line, around about a kilometre. The attack by the Mercatoni Uno rider shed his teammate and Armstrong, and he's going to go again. But he'd rather signal that one to everybody, so there's not much point now, because Bugno's got his wheel, and so too is Jalabert without too much bother. And I really think that Casagrande has told everybody he wanted to do this, and they all can see him. There's no point at all. They're right on him. Mauro Gianetti sitting at the back, just laying off. Bartoli now, having put in 2 attacks, can't have much more left in those legs. It's all running very favourably in the way of Jalabert or Bugno, I would say. And they've got themselves over the ridge and a short descent here. And so there were 4. And still Bartoli prepared to push the pace up. Gianetti moves to the back. In fact, exactly the caption says, except Bugno's in second place here. Left-hander. They get a glimpse of the finishing line, in fact, head on, but unfortunately just before the finish line they all turn left and go right round the back to line up for the different approach to the finish. A little bit cruel, I always think. Well, Armstrong and Casagrande are not coming back. They've already lost 40 seconds. And now another attack, this time by Gianetti, marked by Bartoli. And the 2 men I expected to attack have done nothing. They've just kept control of the race here at the front, Jalabert and Bugno. See, there's still the best part of 5 kilometres to go, almost 3 miles to race. Now what's going on here? Gianetti has gone up the road and the others are all watching each other. And look at the lead he's taken. Mauro Gianetti has seen his chance and he's gone for it. Well, this is amazing. Now, if he wins this, he's never won a major race in his life. He's only won 7, in fact, at all. And he's gone clear, and because the other two are such hot favourites, nobody has countered. And I don't think Michele Bartoli will counter either, because there's no point. He'll only take the other two with him. So Bugno or Jalabert must react, and Bugno's decided he must try and coax Jalabert into a reaction here. Now this could be a real surprise here. Mauro Gianetti could have read this race to perfection. Mauro Gianetti, who last year his best ride was 9th in the Tour of Lombardy. He won 2 smaller races. He's never going to believe this when he looks over his shoulder, because he can't believe now they've let him go. And here comes Jalabert. The reaction is coming now. Laurent Jalabert has realised he is the one that's got to make the move. He is the one who's won 10 races this year. Michele Bartoli has come right up to him again, but not prepared to go past him. And Bugno struggling back as well. Bugno was gone there. Bugno is back. Casagrande has now been dropped. Armstrong has been dropped. And the big surprise of Liège-Bastogne-Liège is Mauro Gianetti. And this is a rider who almost gave up a year ago. Well, he finished 25th in Liège-Bastogne-Liège back in 1989, 40th in 1990, 26th in 1991, and 48th in 1992. That's not the form, really, is it, that would make you back Mauro Gianetti to win the race today. But I think he's going to. He's going to be a good winner too. It's no fluke, is this, because his great ride in the Flèche Wallonne told everybody he had the form. Beaten in the sprint for 4th place. And now Mauro Gianetti is going to ride to the biggest moment of his life here. On the Polti team this year. The Italian flag, I think it was, flying there, but in fact this young man is Swiss. Well, these next few minutes are going to be awfully long in his life. He don't really look over his shoulder. Bugno's desperate here. Bugno's itching to go. They've just gone past the same flag, so we're only looking at seconds. Jalabert must feel very, very frustrated. The chance of the double is slipping away from him, and it had to come this way. Gianetti read it perfectly. He knew who the favourites were. He knew he had the chance to outwit them, and he's gone. He's over the top of the Côte d'Ance now. Still no power coming from Jalabert. He's scared to open up. And Michele Bartoli is just going to sit there as well and try and get second. 15 seconds, that surely is enough. 10 years a professional. And he's just 31 years of age, Mauro Gianetti. And now he's in with a real shot of featuring very highly in the World Cup this year, and he's going to add a real classic to his honours list. He had 2 wins in 1989, which included a stage of the Kellogg's Tour of Britain. That was the first time we really noticed him. He had a couple of wins in 1990, but nothing significant, and a couple of wins last year. His first win coming in 1986, his first year as a pro. And this man has won more races in the last 2 months than Gianetti has won in the last 10 years. That's Jalabert. But he's not going to win this one. He's been outwitted. So you see, you don't have to be the best always to win. You have to be the shrewdest too. There we have Gianetti clear now. Bugno doing his bit at the front, but there's no real compulsion here now to bring him back, because they can't. Bartoli is going to make the best of this and try and take second in the sprint. We know Jalabert packs a good sprint. Also Bugno. Asked Johan Museo last year in the Tour of Flanders how Bugno finishes. But this man's not going to worry about his sprint at all. He's still flying. He's being pulled to the line now as if by an invisible rope. And look ahead, because there's no sign of him. I think in the distance there you can see him, but that is too far. 2 kilometres to go, that is certainly too far. We're looking at round about 3 minutes of racing. And you won't close 20 seconds in 3 minutes. So the Polti rider, Polti are going to feel very, very happy they signed this man in the twilight days of his career this year. Mauro Gianetti is going to get a big win on his list. I think this is where you might catch a glimpse of the finishing banners and the riders turn away from it. Or maybe not. And these three have worked their way now over a minute ahead of Casagrande, and apparently Casagrande has dropped Lance Armstrong on the climb. So Armstrong looks set for 6th and Casagrande will finish 5th. But I think he would be hoping that his teammate Michele Bartoli was winning this, but instead it's going to be this man, Mauro Gianetti. And there's the left turn. And that's going to be a good sight. Nothing behind him at all. Just our Moto television camera. So Mauro Gianetti of Switzerland. There's the 1 kilometre to go kite. And they're not that far behind. And there's the kilometre to go kite straight ahead. And Gianetti's just gone round the corner, so he's out of sight. They know now that they're sprinting for 2nd place, and they better start working on that, really. It looks as though Bartoli's getting a little bit itchy at the back there. Very shortly now, Polti are going to have themselves a classic win of the year. And I bet they never expected it would come through this rider. Been a great ride. He read it so well. So Vittorio Algeri, the team manager of Polti, is going to be celebrating tonight. This little loop they do as they line up for the finish, and that's just about what he's doing now. There's the finish in the distance, and it's the longest straight in your life if you have to sprint it, but he doesn't. He's going to ride up the centre of this road and enjoy every moment, because they're never going to catch him now. Mauro Gianetti, a professional for 10 years, is about to win his first big race. And there it is. You can't believe it, but he did it so well. He did it like a man who's been a pro for 10 years. Mauro Gianetti wins. The sprint for 2nd place is on. It should be a formality for Laurent Jalabert, but watch out for Gianni Bugno and Bartoli sitting at the back now. Bartoli starting to go with the move. In fact, Gianni Bugno has decided to lead out here. Now comes Laurent Jalabert. Jalabert coming on the right of our screen as Bartoli tries to... But in fact, Bugno's got it. And Jalabert only finished last of the group. So Bugno, Bartoli, Jalabert. And there you can see it in a replay. But they never got up quick enough to witness this action. The 2-arm salute of the Swiss rider Mauro Gianetti. 6 hours and 38 minutes, 25 seconds in the saddle today. And Gianetti winning by 15 seconds ahead of the next 3 riders. Casagrande 5th, Armstrong 6th, Claudio Chiappucci finishing 7th. Heiss Imberden was 9th, 4 minutes 45 seconds down. What a great race and a great winner. Until the next time we meet, I'm Phil Liege saying to you all, goodbye.